Hey there. Happy New Year. My name is Julie. I should reintroduce myself. I don't really set New Year resolutions for many years now because I've been on a 10 plus year journey of just shadow work and bettering myself. But it just so happens that something did become more clear to me today about myself, so I'm definitely shifting for this new year. So I have been experiencing a serious detox. You've heard me talk about how I don't claim illness, right? And this has served me very well. I barely ever come down with anything. But what I did this time was I let myself get really run down. I'm a projector. If you look at the experiment that's happening on Earth called human design, you'll see that projectors are comprising about 20% of the population, 22% maybe. And projector is a categorization of how energy works within a certain segment of the population. And projectors are projectors because they don't have an energy motor. They don't have a motor to give them energy for working like 9 to 5 jobs every day and laborious tasks. They're advisors. Projectors are advisors. It doesn't mean that we never have energy for completing labor tasks, but we definitely don't have consistent energy, and if we do that kind of work, we definitely need to be working alongside somebody who is a generator, meaning we'll be using their access to energy and motor. It doesn't mean we'll drain them or be a vampire on them necessarily, because they are actually energized by working. So they have the generation of excess energy from doing that job that does regenerate them and can propel a projector forward, but they will get burnt out. Like, projectors aren't supposed to sleep in the same bed as generators. And it's because projectors' energy works more on a basis of entering very deeply into another person's energy body and penetrating into see to understand. And you can see why it's very useful for what I do. But in life, in the society that's set up, in our culture, and the expectations that are set forth for most people, there's this idea that work, right? And so I'm not completely, or I wasn't completely free of feeling that I must do that at times. And at that particular time that I let myself get burnt out recently, it was because a bunch of my family members needed me at the same time. You know, it's not so bad. They don't ask for much and they don't ask often. But all at the same time, I really got burnt out. So I exceeded my energy reserves, and that put me in a very weakened state. And I did get so run down that my body had to go through this process of working really hard to expel a certain whatever was in the air. And some other family members that were experiencing so-called illness as well. And I've never once owned it as illness, just a need to rest, right? I recognized, okay, I have a need to rest. And now this has been going on for a week. So that was right through the holidays and things like that. And that's fine. Like, I don't mind taking the time for myself and, celebrating just through some text messages with loved ones. it really did, at first I just kind of gave myself energy medicine and I thought, okay, well, I'll ward this off. And then it was like, okay, I'm not warding this off. Seems to be getting more intense each day. And each day would be a new set of challenges, all had no energy. Like I couldn't move barely. Like even right now it's taking a lot out of me to have this little conversation. But I want to document this part of my journey, and I'm going to share it, and I'll tell you why. So I just kept resting. It was like day 4, and I finally got myself into the shower. I think day 5, I finally got to like pick some of the tissues up off the floor from throwing them in a pile. So it's been quite a journey, right? And there were moments there where, I thought I might suffocate on my own phlegm because I was just really having a hard time with that. And I was vomiting a lot because of that, and it was very, very unpleasant at times, right? And I wondered, am I gonna need to go get, some help with this or what? But I just kept doing my energy medicine on myself. And, I know what these symptoms would be called if I were to claim an illness. It would probably be something along the lines of what's referred to as pneumonia. But I know that I'm also processing it through, and I will come out the other side. So that's what it is. Like, even if I have this condition, I can work through it faster if I don't own it, right? I'm not telling my body that this is ours to keep and we're just gonna, let it run its course. No, I'm telling my body we're gonna overcome this and we don't have to suffer with this. So my body is moving through the stages of it, rather quickly compared to what might have been if I hadn't. And also, it's kind of a beautifully divinely timed thing, because I recognize that as I'm vomiting, and coughing, I'm like strengthening these muscles in my abdomen and expelling energy that's been stuck there. And same thing for my throat. And my head is draining, and it's like energy's moving from there. And all of the body shivers and the chills, and it's just like moving energy out of my body that has been stuck there. And my body has been holding on to things. We can tell by the way it looks. Like when my body is holding extra weight, it's because it's holding extra energy. And a lot of the stuff is just stuff that I got good at carrying, so I hadn't been able to notice it as a burden yet, right? But there are actual benefits to me, going through this process. So even though I don't claim it as, my own, I actually am thankful for it, even while having it, knowing that it's assisting me to not only stop exerting myself when I don't have the energy to do so, but expel some extra stagnant energy that my body was storing. Also motivating me to start my juice fast when I get back to being able to do that. Like, I'm all prepared to start a juice fast. I've got a masticating juicer. So I've had a centrifugal juicer for a long time, many years. I used to do juice fasts quite often. I enjoy them very much because of the benefits, which are many. And it had been a while. In the past 3 years, I had gone back to a lot of things that I had cut out for myself. Some of it was experimental. Some of it was just comfort eating. Part of me wanted to overcome the part of my body that couldn't process through certain foods that I do enjoy. But at this point, I'm like, well, I think I'd rather just be healthy, and I'll figure out the energetic sequences that need to be decoded for certain consumptions later, you know. So now I'm ready to start my juice fast again. With the masticating juicer, I will be able to juice greens without wasting them. The centrifugal juicer wastes a lot of the greens if you juice them there. So that's exciting, and I know I'm going to show you guys that. I'm going to take you through the process because I want to challenge myself to be even more authentic. And so that's partly why I'm sharing this part of my life with you. But also, it was something that was brought to my attention, into my awareness today, that one of the things that was kind of just being shown to me through different clues, and I'm kind of running out of energy now that I'm at this point. I had only had 11 minutes in me. We'll see if I have a few more. It was being shown to me through different little clues that I was still carrying a program that was afraid to be fully seen. Afraid to be fully seen. Which is kind of funny, right? You've seen me challenge that on different levels. You've seen me push myself to be on camera even when I don't feel like I'm looking my best and brightest and fittest. And you've seen me, come on with the messy hair first thing in the morning, and I don't wear makeup, and really have been working to be comfortable with myself and being seen. But it was on this other level that I saw it, and it was this remembrance of being a little girl, and how when I was very young, I used to hide behind my father's leg whenever I came in contact with new people. Maybe even people I knew, but I would just stand behind his leg. And it was brought to that memory, and I was just like, why did I do that? And I had this memory of somebody taking my nose. Somebody stole my nose. You know that game that people have played with children? Maybe you don't know it. It's basically they pretend to take the child's nose and show them with their thumb between the fingers that they've taken their nose. And I mean, I can't recall the feelings or whatever, but I can kind of recall fuzzily that I didn't like that, I didn't want that, and how dare they? and I'm not even going to expose myself to anyone like this anymore. So new people were not safe because I didn't know if they were going to do something stupid like try to take my nose. So I would stand behind my dad's leg. Mind you, my dad, he probably would have taken my nose too. But he was way up there, and his leg was like this wall. So my dad was 6'4", and I'm talking about me at age like 3 and 4. So, I was just like a little tot. And so standing behind his leg seemed like the safest place to be in those moments where, I was faced with strangers. And then I thought about how that had been playing out, and it was like this realization of how even the men that I would consider being in relationship with were men that wouldn't see me totally. Not because I wouldn't show myself to them, but because they wouldn't bother looking. Because they're like narcissistic men who are self-focused, self-absorbed, and would only be with somebody for what it served them, And then I was just like, oh, wow, that's how that played out for me. That's like, whoa. And then I looked at some charts. I asked the astrology charts used horary astrology to ask some questions. So that's where you can ask a question and look up the chart for your question and get the answers. And that showed me very clearly that, yes, it was both not wanting to be seen and wanting to be seen simultaneously that was causing me a big issue. So what this meant was, now recently I got a new pen pal, which is a lovely thing. I haven't had a pen pal in a while. I'm still kind of feeling out if it's going to be as fun as I think it's going to be, but I think we're both pretty low-key about, like, putting pressure on ourselves about it, and we're just trying to get to know each other. It's somebody who is just a woman that it would be beneficial for me to know her better because she's in my granddaughter's life. And so, in expressing myself to her, right, in this letter, I found that I was, like, over-explaining. And I could feel myself doing it. And I was like, why am I just being so wordy? Why am I just, like, covering every base when I talk? Why am I just, like... And then I thought about it, and it was like, oh, because I'm trying to control how I'm seen. So there's another way it was playing out, and there's no way that it couldn't have played out at times on my videos, you know? No way that it couldn't have. So if there was, like, part of that, me showing up on my videos that rubbed certain people wrong, maybe because they had the same shadow, right? But I didn't see it myself, so I wouldn't know that. And if I did rub you the wrong way on that shadow, you're welcome. Hopefully you can heal it in you too, you know? Because I feel so much happier to just be without an agenda, you know, for how I'm seen, because there were things to work through with that, right? It was like, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? You know, what would be so bad about that if somebody misunderstands me? And it's like, oh, well, it's scary to be misunderstood because then someone will assume this, can ruin reputation, there might be hurt feelings. And it's like, well, I know all those things anyway. Okay, like, let's deal with the feeling that goes along with that. So I processed through the feeling, and that was the only thing anchoring in the worry that I had already mentally worked through many times before. So once I sat with the feelings of sadness over being misunderstood and loved myself through that, it was like, okay, well, I'm willing to risk that. If someone misunderstands me, great. They'll either go away or ask a question. And one of the things about being a projector, which I mentioned in the beginning of my talk here, is that we're only meant to assist people who can, first of all, ask us, and second of all, recognize our worth. If somebody doesn't recognize my worth, then they could ask all day long, and I am not supposed to take that invitation. If somebody asks and recognizes my worth, I still get to discern if that's the right invitation for me. And usually, if it's something major, I have to take 3 days to make that decision. And that's because I have a certain energy that experiences every emotional state on something. It's a unique experience probably to people with that type of energy, and maybe I'll talk about it more sometime. I don't know. But I lost it. Okay. So that's where I'm at. That's what I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share that even when I do get ill, I still don't claim it. I find the benefit of it, and I take care of myself through it. And then, I should show you this before I cut it. I'm cutting this, but it's because I want some of the rest of the lotion that's in there, right? It's almost empty. You can see. And this is the brand. I really like it. I've gotten some other things by this brand, and I didn't like all of them. But these baby things, I like them. I like these baby products. I use their baby body soap too. It's obviously time for me to get a new bottle, but I won't be going to the store until I feel quite a bit better. So I thought I would just clean out this bottle. That's how human I'm going to be for you. I I have my crystals here. I'm going to show you a bit of my collection. That's the craft that I'm going to do while I continue to recover after we have this talk. Ooh, I hadn't sat at my desk in a few days, maybe. So I went laxed on my points. I didn't get my points for yesterday, I guess, and one other day. Oh well. Oh, I was going to light a candle for us. I got this. So let's open it. Let's open this and light. We're not going to light that candle, but we're going to use that candle. And I'm going to pull some, maybe I'll pull some cards. I don't know. All right. Now, these are the candles I have. I am not Jewish, and this is not meant to be offensive, but these were the least expensive candles that I could find online at the moment, and I'm going to do a white one for purification. I was getting beeswax candle kit and making my own candles, but they raised the price so much so that I just didn't want to pay it. So first I'm doing this. We got that, and then, darn. I think I could have done this with my lighter, couldn't I? Okay, so that's that. This candle is for the purification and detox process for each of us. Holding space for anyone who's needing to rest extra and needing to really caretake themselves right now. The other thing I have is this, what's this called? Twine? It's not twine, is it? Might be twine. I don't know. And this is the bulk of my bulk crystals. They are mostly in bagged sets, labeled and ready to sell that way. These are the clear quartz, and those ones are programmed. And then there's a bunch that are just single stones that I was selling. And I'm going to do a macrame of them because, let's face it, I don't want to sell my crystals. I like them. So, that's what we're going to do. Now, where is there a hair tie around here? There's a song in my head. I hope that you see right through my walls. And I kind of want to say, that's in my head because it fits for how I feel about anyone who's been watching. Because as I discover more and more about my own protective measures, walls, masks, limiting views, and all that, there's this part of me that's like, gosh, I really want to be me. So if you could see me beneath all that, I hope you could. So, and if you can't, maybe you're still here and you'll have a chance to. I'm just going to keep being me and keep on this journey, which is leading me somewhere. I do have an idea of where. I don't always know how exactly I'll get there, but I'm also like ready to, and also enjoying the process, because I feel like I've struggled enough, and it doesn't have to be a struggle. And the biggest struggle for me lately, and usually, has been just trying to get along with other people who don't get it, who are fucking miserable, and who don't have a clue that they could get out of it. And I just am so drained by it. And at this point. And I'm so sensitive to people pulling at my energy. So sensitive to it. So I guess I'm gonna mention this, and it might seem rude, and it's not meant to be. And if you're the person that I'm talking about, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I want you to know that first and foremost, I care about how you feel. And I hope that you can hear this with the most open mind and understanding for me as a person and what I do here on earth, and why I would offer this. It would be so that you could take an understanding that is on offer about the situation, not to shame or blame you. Like, you can take it and grow from it, or you could take it and be offended by it. That is all up to you. Okay, so I had somebody contact me by just sending me what looked like a business card where they had made a symbol and put my name, my phone number, and my email on it. And which some symbol in there, and an added detail of this is that they call themselves Gypsy Magician something. And so I was like, okay, well, no text, no words, just this symbol. Symbols, of course, can be very powerful holders of energy and information. And I, frankly, didn't even put any focus or energy into it. I observed it. Because of what it was, I knew not to kind of get my energy entangled in it. I just went, oh. When a gypsy sends me a symbol with no words, no thank you. Unsolicited, right? So I blocked it. Then the same person contacted me on Facebook Messenger. I did not take the message. Don't know if they had any words. Could have been the same symbol. And then also contacted me through through YouTube, just to say that they sent me an email. I said, yes, I know you sent me an email. It was an image and didn't mean anything to me. What is the purpose of your communication? And then they emailed me and showed me that the symbol that they drew was their representation of my violet flame sculpture, which you've seen in some of my readings if you watch. But the thing about this violet flame sculpture is its color. It's violet. It's a violet flame. But they made it in like brown and red or something. So, it lost its meaning to, as far as I was concerned. But they're certainly allowed to be inspired by anything I show on my video, but like, don't put my name on it. Don't put my name on your image and call yourself a magician. Like, that's pretty rude. And maybe their intention wasn't rude. I don't know. But then they said in their email that they had done that and that they didn't want anything from me. And then they commented on YouTube that they didn't want anything from me. And, I knew that wasn't true because Even if they didn't understand what they wanted from me, they wanted a reply from me. That's why they continuously contacted me, right? If you contact someone and they don't get back to you, and you don't want anything from them, you don't continuously contact them on every platform. You don't keep checking in on them or bugging them to get them to reply to you. That's getting someone to do something is you wanting and from them, and that's you pulling on their energy. So at that point, I knew what they wanted, but to explain that to them would be doing the thing that they were trying to get me to do, which is their game, which to them may be completely unconscious. They might not understand that they are being an energy vampire by doing that. And it wasn't pertinent, right? I couldn't explain that to them, so I just had to let it go. Okay, they said they didn't want anything from me. Fine, I'll leave it at that. But I took the information for myself, right? And I said, well, if this person's a mirror of me, where am I putting pressure on somebody else to answer me? And I didn't see it right away, but I asked that question of the universe. And then a little while later, I became aware. And it was my children. I'm in the habit of contacting my children daily. Because it's been very important for me to make them feel loved. And that's all I can do now, right? They're adults. All I can possibly do is check in on them. But my children, each of them have different responses. Sometimes one or two of them just don't respond. The other one's response is more like you can just feel that he's doing it out of obligation rather than enjoyment. And so when I saw myself in that moment, I was like, oh, I see. And I was like, I have been writing them every day, and then that in turn puts the expectation on them that they will reply to me. And I don't want to do that to my kids, So I forgive myself for doing that, because it was, my intentions were good, but I didn't think about what I was actually doing. I didn't think about how there might be an expectation or attachment, right? And even though the expectation and attachment that in my awareness was that I wanted them to feel loved, that is something too, right? I can't make someone feel loved. I can just love them. It's not up to me to make someone feel something. It's not why I should be doing anything. I can just love someone. I can't do something to make them feel it. So it turned out that this magician gypsy was a beautiful gift, in that they let me see why that was welcome in my experience, because I was doing that too, right? That was a mirror of me in the moment. And if you've heard me talk before about the 7 Essene mirrors, and you looked into it for yourself, then you know that that's the first mirror. What I was being is what I was shown. So there's new realizations every day, and it's nothing like to shame me or blame me or say I'm terrible or say, that I've been a hypocrite because I haven't been doing what I talk about doing. And it's like, I've been doing it. Is there a lot of different layers and intricacies about dissecting your own operating system? You're actually operating in it while you're dissecting it, right? And actually what I've been working on is to develop another operating system that I can leap into. And so I think that's where kind of I'm at, it's like time to leap, because worrying about how I'm seen, or not wanting to be seen, was kind of like the last barrier to that, right? It's like, why wouldn't I have leaped? Because I might be seen for who I really am when I'm on an operating system that I wrote myself from my heart. And then my, own self-sabotage would have delayed until I now, integrated that part of me and loved that part of me, so that she's not scared and trying to hold us back. So she's not micromanaging our conversations and over-explaining us to oblivion. So it can be very freeing. This whole thing is a wonderful process, and I guess I had more than 11 minutes in me after all. As I get better here, maybe I'll even show you my apartment. I consider my apartment like my little art studio. Like, I like making it aesthetically pleasing. That's important to me. I also like it feeling like a little bit of a cave. And I didn't know until the other day, with all this nice downtime of rest, I have here and there been able to look into things. And I saw that that's part of human design as well, my categorization for how I like to digest. So that's information or food, is in a beautiful surrounding, in a cave-like environment. And the other part of that for me is with a high amount of noise in the background. And that's interesting because I've gone through times where I tried to not have my television on. Like, I'll play YouTube in the background of a lot that I'm doing. Besides recording anything else, it's usually on. And I've gone through times where I said, I got to cut down on this. I don't want to have, something in my ears all the time. But even when I sleep, I tend to put on my own videos so that I'm not taking in other people's information, but I still have the sound. So I've been kind of comforted in the realization that that was actually part of my design, and also I'm embracing it now more. And so I think that's why I felt more comfortable sharing and stuff. Because it's just like part of me is that I really care about aesthetics. It's really important to me. Like, even when no one's gonna see me, even when no one knows, I match my pajamas. When it's just like, I don't want to clash. Like, I would never wear like a plaid and a stripe together, even if it was just for sleeping. I couldn't do it, And even though I've lived in 2-bedroom houses in the last 3 places, right? And my last 3 places have had, well, actually the condo was just 1 bedroom, but the 2-bedroom house, a 1-bedroom condo, and now a 2-bedroom trailer. And I set up so that I am in the living room. Like, that's where my bedroom is. My bedroom is in the living room, the same room. Like, it's like I set up like a studio. And I use my bedrooms as storage, more or less. And I didn't start out that way in the house, but I ended up that way because it was just more comfortable for me. And now to see that that is actually a categorization for my digestion of information is that I function well in a cave. It was like, wow, that's pretty cool and very accurate. And it's funny how just a little tool like that, offering an outside perspective, can be such reassurance that I would be more willing to step into myself, right? It's like, I want to be willing to step into myself even without the outside reassurance. But I'm glad like a few of these things kind of happened all at once to break down my walls, even if you couldn't see them. And even if you could already see through them. See you on the next one.